Ladies and gentlemen, we are finally back with another Atlanta United Career Mode series. Today we're going to be kicking off the Staying Up Challenge, I guess is what I'm going to call it, or some sort of Atlanta United in the Premier League type of series name. I'll think of something by the time I upload it. But we're basically going to be with the challenge of staying up in the Premier League. Obviously, taking a team like Atlanta United from the MLS does not stack up well against the high-end teams in the Premier League, but we are going to give it a shot and see how we can do. We're going to kick it off with one of friendly match here is all I'm going to end up playing, and then I'm going to show you guys the result of the, I believe, last two games of the preseason, because obviously it's really not that big of a deal. It's not that hard of a challenge. You guys seen me already play other teams, play in a preseason tournament, so really I was just playing in it to try to get the money, but I end up simulating at the end of it. So I just want to give you guys a little bit more gameplay, and then we will hop into the first match of the Premier League. I believe against Huddersfield at the end of the episode. So if you guys are excited about the return of Atlanta United to the channel and a new series kicking up and the Premier League coming to the channel as well, definitely make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are new. Maybe this is the first time you have seen my channel. I did a first season of Atlanta United. It ended up winning the MLS, so definitely check that series out if you haven't already. But I did want to give myself a little bit more of a challenge because it ended up being a little too easy in the MLS, scoring over 100 goals in our first season. We'll definitely continue that series, but a lot less often as we try to do this. If there's any players you guys are interested in me signing, I won't be signing anybody until January, but definitely let me know in the comments section down below. I'm definitely interested in getting a lot of players in. I'll definitely be scouting the player that Atlanta United is linked to right now at center back. I believe his name is Franco. He's going to be coming in as a center back, right back for Atlanta United. I believe he's signed a 3 to 5 year contract, somewhere in that range, so hopefully we can get him to the squad as soon as possible, and we'll try to get him in both this series and the MLS Career Mode series. So basically I'm going to try to keep this team as close to realistic as possible, because I do want to keep it a challenge in the first season. After this, you know, we'll start getting in a little bit more. Obviously, if we're like at the midpoint in the season, once January hits and we're already at like mid-table, hopefully is where I see myself being, then I'll, you know, go ahead and sign some other players, because it's pretty set in stone that we'll be staying up in the Premier League. If it ends up being a little bit more of a challenge, I'll make a couple signings here and there to definitely strengthen the team, but won't go too crazy more than that. Another comment I saw in an older video whenever I first brought up this series idea was that I should buy a lot of American players or try to make the entire team out of the younger American players. I'm still going to hold that series idea off for a little bit. I may end up trying to do that with Newcastle United, as they are going to have a lot more money. Here you see we go 4-0 up in this game, closing out the game pretty soon. So pretty easy to kick off the friendly tournament. We're going to end up playing, I believe, kicking off the series in the 4-2-3-1 formation. As the series goes along, we may switch it back to the 3 in the back formation you guys are familiar with, as we ended the MLS season with. This is my first video since Atlanta United did lose in the playoffs. Kind of wanted to collect my thoughts, I guess, a little bit. I haven't really been in the mood to upload recently, but decided to go ahead and bring the series back. Columbus looks like they're doing incredibly well in the playoffs. The PK situation was definitely hard to watch, to say the least, but it was frustrating. It's still our first season. It was a good season nonetheless, and we're definitely looking towards 2018 with high hopes. So it was nice to do what we did this season, but I do wish we would have made it a little bit further. But as we progress, you know, there's bigger and better things coming for the club. So it's going to be very interesting to see how everything ends up panning out. Like I said, though, we're going to kick this series off. This is obviously the end of this game, and then we'll be kicking it into just showing you guys some of the simulations for the other matches that I ended up doing. I believe I showed you the semi-final and the final results of the International Cup that we entered. First game is going to be against Udinese. I believe they played the majority of their starting lineup in this game, and you're just going to see that we managed to kind of squeeze out a victory here against a pretty good side and then go into the final of this friendly cup. I wanted to enter it, obviously, try to get us a little bit more money. Because most importantly, we need to bring a scout in because we don't have that much money to use for contracts and transfers and whatnot. Whenever you do take a team like Atlanta United into the Premier League, the contracts that you had in the MLS do not stay the same as the contracts in the Premier League. I may show you guys that in a future episode, I'm not sure. But basically, players like Miguel Almiron are closer to that 100,000 per week mark. Versus obviously them in the MLS closer to, you know, like a 20K salary or something like that. So, or 20K a week, whatever it was. But that's definitely going to eat up a lot of our money whenever we sign new players to new contracts and, you know, existing players to contract extensions. It's going to make it a little bit difficult to keep a hold of our money, so we do need to keep that in mind. But you guys are going to see here in the final, we actually end up conceding in the second minute of the game, which makes it very difficult. For the most part, I kept the starting lineup as is, but did end up playing Alec for the preseason. Didn't want to get Brad Guzan hurt, but also wanted to give Alec a good chance in getting his stats up going into the start of the season. I actually ended up leaving Alec in this game, not realizing that I hadn't taken him out for Brad Guzan, and I almost went to team management there to change it, but ended up not doing so. So we're going to kick off the first game of the season with Mike Dean as the referee, which one, I was not excited about, but two, kicking off with Alec Kahn in goal. So a little bit worrisome going into the Premier League, obviously, with a lesser quality team. This is the stadium we're going to be playing in. It does say Mercedes-Benz Stadium this time instead of obviously in the MLS series where I didn't have the name fixed. It was a little bit of a glitch. Even though I changed it in the settings, it wouldn't change in the career mode, which was a little bit frustrating. But I did go into the settings of the actual, you know, overall FIFA settings to change the stadium name to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I'm not that big of a fan of Olympic parks like this where there is a track around the field, but this was, I guess, the closest to a dome atmosphere as I could get for Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but also as close as I could get for stadium capacity, because there's not many stadiums obviously that give you a high level of capacity, and I wanted to make sure that we could at least get a good decent amount of stadium crowd noise in it as well. So we're going to kick this game off against Huddersfield, and I managed to break through very, very early on with Miguel Almiron, who scores a goal straight off of kickoff. Huddersfield just pulling defenders into really bad places, and Miguel Almiron is able to just squeak his way into the backfield. So the way this game starts off is pretty crazy. Made me wonder how this game was really going to play out. I will say that all of these games were recorded before the patch that came out today, or yesterday, sorry, on Halloween for consoles. I know it's been out on PC a little bit, and people have been kind of saying that it is harder to play, it's slower to play, so it's going to be interesting to see how it ends up playing out. I believe I have 4 episodes pre-recorded, maybe 3, and then I'll obviously start kicking off into the next, or into the new update, so maybe it'll make it a little bit more difficult. There's definitely big games coming up that I've already played. I believe I've already played Liverpool and Manchester City in this career mode. Those are definitely 2 games to look forward to. I believe Liverpool is in the next episode actually, so definitely make sure you guys check back, hit that subscribe button so you're notified whenever that new episode goes up. But definitely this is going to be much more of a challenge, even though here you're going to see in the 10th minute we actually managed to grab another goal from Tito Villalba, grabbing himself that goal and making it 2-0. A lot of these celebrations, I kept doing this celebration because it was tis the season for Halloween. I expected this episode to go up before Halloween, but ended up not working out that way. So I end up doing that celebration a lot in these next few episodes, so bear with me. It's kind of like whenever I was doing the Antoine Griezmann celebration a little far too often in the last few episodes. A little bit of the same thing. I'm just trying to mix up the celebrations and try some new stuff out. But here in the 30th minute, we actually go 3-0 up in this game, and at this point, you know, I'm thinking it is Huddersfield. It's going to be an easier game for us. They're going to be the lower end of the table. If we can pick up results like this against the lower half of the table, we should definitely be in a good spot to get mid-table at least, and then hopefully we can squeak out some good results going into the upper side of the table. Here though, you're going to see Huddersfield ends up passing the ball around pretty well here. As I kind of get a little cocky, I start forcing players forward a lot, and just not boxing out players like I should have. And once you go into challenges like that against a better team, statistically they are going to get opportunities. In here, crossed the ball over perfectly, and I just couldn't get to the ball in time, and they managed to grab a goal back. So it's only 3-1 at this point. Still a lot of goals in this game, but making it a little bit closer made me worry a little bit more, which kind of just made me try a little bit more. And here you're going to see we end up trying a little bit more, passing the ball a little bit better, protecting the ball a little bit better, and making smarter passes. And when you do that with a team like Atlanta United, there's a lot of opportunities that can be had. I get the ball out to Joseph Martinez here. He pulls the ball back to Yamil Assad, and he grabs a goal straight off of kickoff. So that's 3 goals in a matter of minutes in this game, and we managed to go 4-1 up at this point, only in the 34th minute of the game. So our fans are going crazy at this point. Fun times ahead. This is still a very, very crazy game. And definitely kicked off the series really well, in my opinion. Gave me a lot of confidence going into the rest of the season. I think we'll be able to stay up pretty easily. I wanted to make the challenge, a little bit easier on myself. I'm not trying to go for top 4 in the first season. That's just a bit crazy. This team still is one of the worst statistically in the league, so if we can at least get mid-table, get that money in for the club, and just kind of go from there where we can get bigger players in, I think we could probably achieve top 4 in the first couple seasons with the players that we have. So definitely let me know what players you guys want to see. I have a lot of ideas in my head as we score the 5th goal in this game in the 37th minute. Like I said, a lot of goals in this game. Pretty crazy to kick off the season like this, but I have ideas in my head. Obviously, Franco will be one of them that we bring in January, and then we'll kind of go from there. There's some more Argentinian players that I want to bring in, some more South American players, maybe a couple Americans, and then we'll branch out into Europe a little bit as well to kind of scout out some players there. So, let me know. You guys know the budget. Same basically as last year. I have a little bit higher of a wage budget, but this season, the transfer-wise, I believe I have somewhere around 15 million for transfers. So definitely keep the ideas lower. I cannot sign DeAndre Yedlin in January, I don't think, because he did just sign with Newcastle. So although I know I'm going to get that comment in this video probably, definitely DeAndre Yedlin will be on the list in the coming seasons for sure. I do want to get him in along with Christian Pulisic, of course. But it will happen at some point, just not this season. So here we score the 7th goal in the game, but 6 for us, going 6-1 up in the first half of this game, setting the tone for the rest of the season. Joseph Martinez manages to grab himself a goal. So you're going to see, of course, a lot of goals coming from Miguel Almiron, Joseph Martinez, and Tito Villalba, if not Yamil Assad as well. So I'm sure it's going to be another one of those seasons where we score a lot of goals with them. It's really going to come down to how well I can play defense whenever I'm playing against the bigger clubs. And even some of the mid-table teams have a lot of firing power that could end up giving us trouble. Here you're going to see in the 70th minute, not much really happened to that second half up till this point, but Huddersfield again gets the ball. I get a little cocky, get a little complacent, not tackling as well as I should, and Alec just isn't able to save it. The game goes to 6-2, and of course at this point I'm not too worried. It's not that crazy of a game. I'm not worried they're going to end up scoring 4 more in this one, but Billing is able to get them a 2nd goal in the match. Here in the 90th minute, going into the end of the game, Huddersfield gets one more opportunity. I pulled Michael Parkhurst a little too far. They managed to get a pass across goal, and again Alec isn't able to save it, and we go 6-3 up in this game. I guess you could say we're still up, so not too much to worry about there, but definitely wanted to try to keep the goals against a little bit lower. We want to try to get that tally as high as possible like we did in the MLS. Hopefully we can do again here in the Premier League. So that is going to be the end of this episode. Hope you guys did enjoy the kickoff for the Staying Up Challenge with Atlanta United. If you did enjoy, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you are new. And until next time, I will see you guys later.